This is part 2 to a balancing act for Asian representation streaming. You can find part 1 up here. Let's start off with some interesting statistics. Asian Americans have been in America since before the 1900s, yet 3 in 10 Americans are unable to name historical events or policy related to Asian Americans compared to other racial categories, which makes me wonder what those 7 in 10 Americans listed as historical events or policy. Was it the American concentration camp of the Japanese? Was it the Chinese Exclusion Act? Was it the Vietnam War? Was it the overthrow of Hawaii? I kind of want to know what those common answers were. And the other interesting fact here is that compared to other members of racial categories, Asian Americans are least likely to feel like they belong or are accepted in the United States, which as a result says that 1 in 5 Asian Americans have hidden part of their heritage or culture from others. This is common more among young Asians or US born Asian Americans, where they have a fear of being discriminated against. And in my opinion, that fear of being discriminated and wanting to hide your cultural heritage is what's caused the rise in boba liberals and that need for white validation among Asians. Besides those statistics and the number of roles, you also have to look at the quality of the depiction. And Asian characters usually had 2 stereotypes, well 3, but the 2 ones that are counted here are the perpetual foreigner and the model minority, which most of you should already know by now. Those 2 stereotypes encompass all Asians, but the stereotypes go further when you break it down to Asian women, who are often portrayed as submissive objects of desire, harsh, emotionally detached, and demanding. Tiger moms, dragon ladies. Such dehumanization often contributes to oppression and violence towards Asian women. And then there's the Asian men, in contrast, stereotypes, who have been portrayed as emasculated, weak, or undesirable. But there's this more recent portrayals of the himbo as emerged, which is interesting. Where the himbo is contrary to the model minority and emasculated stereotypes. These men are depicted in physically appealing but lacking intelligence. The himbo is an interesting stereotype because it rejects the constant portrayals of how Asians were seen as being emasculated, weak, and it went completely in the opposite direction, showing that Asians can be in fact physically attractive and not really that intelligent. And it kind of creates this binary representation, which was what we might need so that we can start playing everything else in between. And of course, you still have the same stereotypes: martial artists, organized crime, bad drivers, the role of sidekick to a prominent white character, or cast as the tragic hero doomed to fail. While the himbo representation may allow Asian men to reject old racist stereotypes, if you notice, Asian women have binary extremes on the characters they can represent, showing very little growth. So the next question is, what can Asian women do, or what kind of representation should be next so that they don't have those binary extremes? And this will probably apply to Asian men in the future as well.